I am Captain Logan, and this is day 258 of Spawn Year. Well, Spawn hasn't green magic poofed his way out of his impossible nightmarish predicament yet, and I gotta say I haven't seen Spawn this powerless and desperate in a long time. Certainly never this desperate to save people and not his own skin. And I actually don't think, given where he is at the end of this issue, that Hallwin's gonna give Spawn an easy, cryptic, cosmic way out by the end of this. He actually got me curious to see how Spawn's gonna save his city, or whether, despite his best efforts, he's going to just make the situation worse, as Clown continues to set him up to do. Spawn's been wanting to make up for past mistakes by using his hell-given powers for unselfish means, but he also has a direct responsibility to the city because if not for him, 1,000 people wouldn't have turned into clowns and the city wouldn't be in chaos. Clown's been doing all of this just to prove to Spawn that he can't change. It's nice to see Spawn motivated like this. I actually want to see him succeed because he's fighting for the right reasons, both for the soul of New York and for his own soul. But I hope this arc ends on a high note and that it doesn't end in some cop-out, incomprehensible way, because I'm sick of the same tired themes of despair. If Spawn is beyond hope, beyond bettering himself, then put him out of his misery so I can read about someone more interesting. I'm beginning to wonder if this arc is ever gonna end. Once again, I find myself wondering how anyone had the patience to read maybe 30 to 40 pages of actual substance stretched over more than 100 pages and published over a period of half a year. I get wanting to establish the mayhem and carnage going on in the city, but I've seen this handled in plenty of more sophisticated stories about urban disaster through more of a grounded context, a specific character perspective, while real narrative is being furthered. Between the last two issues, there's a lot of generic looting and violence that eats up panel space but doesn't make me care about any of the faceless victims or baddies involved. It's set dressing that thinks it's the main event. But it's not like that's new for this book, art over story. So Spawn, still badly pummeled and low on energy, breaks into a convenient nearby gun store and packs himself the sort of military-grade heat I really doubt you'd be able to buy at Bo's Artillery Warehouse. He starts blowing away clowns on a train because he's sick of these mother-effing clowns in this mother-effing train, but didn't bank on the likelihood of a hostage situation. That's where the clowns really hit home the classic superhero trope of the meddling, self-proclaimed savior with the best of intentions who makes a bad situation worse. The clowns jump Spawn, steal his ridiculous amount of grenades, and then blow up this train full of people. All Spawn managed to do was bring more devastating toys for the clowns to kill people with. I really like the tragic image of Al with his mask off, his tattered cape falling apart behind him, and the world around him on fire. For once, I can't really blame Spawn for the travesty he unwittingly perpetuated. I can't begrudge him for trying to stop those clowns. I don't think I would say you started all this, just leave well enough alone so you don't agitate a festering wound. As I said, I think Clown is Spawn's responsibility, and had he strategically and stealthily take out 1,000 clowns surrounded by terrified civilians. I mean, carrying the entire military arsenal of Canada was maybe overkill, but the fact that those clowns could ambush him and get that much from him demonstrates how weak he still is and why he thought he needed all of that in the first place. The only thing I think he probably should have considered is building an army to resist the clowns, maybe with Sam and Twitch's help, instead of pulling a Batman and going it alone in his condition. Speaking of Sam and Twitch, they're still in this forced situation where street punks want to tear them apart for hurting a guy who fell on their car that they're just trying to get to a hospital. The local media gets in the middle of it, which comes completely out of nowhere. Why would reporters be in the worst neighborhood ever in the middle of a citywide crisis when a blackout would prevent them from broadcasting? I guess this is an attempt at social commentary about media taking advantage of a crisis. It's random and in all of 2 panels, which for this book might as well be half a word balloon. Then a police helicopter shows up and breaks up the whole thing. So I guess this entire subplot was here to let us know Sam and Twitch aren't dead, and the Nyx Mammon thing is sludging along as well. Now she's completely sure she doesn't want to do the deal with Mammon, which is a choice I don't know how she arrived at, because last time we saw her, she seemed, I thought, to still be going back and forth on it. Man, you need shrewder negotiating skills if you're gonna haggle with Satan, Nyx. How is she surprised he won't leave her alone after opening a dialogue? That subplot had some potential, but it's stalling out hard. And finally, I remain confused about the clowns wreaking havoc on the city. They sort of seem to have minds of their own and aren't meticulously controlled by the clown all the time, but clowns certainly turn normal people into homicidal maniacs. I complained before about that scene where Spawn thinks about killing one with no thought about the innocent human being underneath, but Holden portrays him here as totally justified in railing them down. It's really frustrating trying to thoughtfully consider events in a story the author hasn't thoughtfully considered. Maybe I should have just written, it's drawn out, it's confusing, Spawn is nearly likable, and I dug the last page. I'd sure use up less blood that way. Signed, Captain Logan.